Greetings, this is Warrior King, and the time has come for the lions and the lioness to tell their own story. This is the lion's voice. Give thanks and praise for the wonderful blessing that's been poured on me. Give thanks and praise. Jah use I as an instrument to set the people free. Jah give her the powers to chant. Jah give her the powers to chant. Rastafari, the lion's voice.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the lion's voice.
Yes, job people, this is Michael Shemai representing. I will say, hear the lion voice, saying it is time for the lions and the lionesses to tell their own story. David killed Goliath with a stone, we original dread.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
It's AWTITUDE representing for Lion's Voice. Yes, massive. This is the time for I and I, the lion, them to tell I and I story, our story. Yes, and we reign and rule like this. Reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, I reign and rule. You can't take the lion vibes, people. If you no fool, cause we know Selassie reign and rule. Reign and rule. Selassie, I reign and rule. Queen Omega drop them in the fire, pull from them, no Queen Omega, she reign and rule. Royal Kushite, ancient essence, Emperor Selassie in a majestical presence, flash of all sevens, projecting through I and I events. We sing a song for the king, we bring joy and blessing and overstanding, yeah. We hear Jah every day. Hey. Reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, reign and rule. Yes, I lion vibes, Selassie, reign and rule. Attitude say that. Boondocks, Black Organization of Noble Diplomats optimizing expressions to the world. Till
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lamb's voice. Now put it, I Jollifer said that.
Greetings, this is Ras Splicer. The time has come for the lions to tell their own story. See? This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right here, sir. Ras Splicer said that. Are you satisfied? Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm all alone, still you thought I was telling a lie. This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right here, sir.
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to the lion voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.
Jano, I'm so hungry, bro. I haven't eaten all day. Like, my head started to hurt me too. Like, what now could I eat right now?
What about a city samosa? Get your samosa, a fusion of Indian, Jamaican, and African culture. City samosas, the best samosas in the city.
I'm here writing all these model scrolls. Has a redemption for bloodshed on Sodom Road. Stories to trigger happy now to shot all of his foes. This is the outcome of 500 years down here in the West. Mothers forced to manual labor with no rest. The cost of living in the West is leaving us penny less. Loudly I hear the cries of my peoples being released out the cages of desert eagles, leaving the victim garment see-through. If you overstand the level, he who feels it knows the down pressure of the devil. Cross the pope in the fire, Gideon black rebels. My sword is my word manifested in flesh. Blessed to get a use the homeless with a place to rest. Selassie say clothe the naked, shelter for the shelterless. Babylon you can't govern because your heart is too dirty. Behold the lion of Judah, he get low this worthy.
So heal His Majesty. Heal him, King of Glory. Heal him, might of the Trinity. Rastafari crown every African priest. So heal His Majesty. Heal him, King of Glory. Heal him, might of the Trinity. Rastafari crown every African free.
I'm Bessa, trample the down presser. Work for the youths, the mothers, the ancestors. Bad situation must get better. Weak by ourselves, so we must stand together. Stop eating deaders, grow out your dreaders. You need your locks like the chicken needs its feathers. Chant forever, the king reigns forever. Don't get caught in the Babylon pleasure. Watch the flames get redder, chains get scarcer. Lock down the planes and you're stuck in the area. When Wall Street crashed, the foolish passed. The wise man up in the hills with his store to last. There's more to grasp in this life than this horse with ass. Stores of cash and you blinking when the poor man passed. It's never too small to share, food or gear. I'm a Gideon, are you prepared? I move to kick and I move to snare. Two things that don't move me is doubt and fear. Why? Cause the great king is everywhere. In water and land, in man and air. So
heal His Majesty. Heal him, King of Glory. Heal him, might of the Trinity. Rastafari crown every African priest. Heal His Majesty. Heal him, King of Glory. Heal him, might.
What do you have to tell the people about Rastafari?
Light to the world. The King of Kings and the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. I left himself. Where's my ruler? Hey yo! Hey, hail him high, hail the black king on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your night. From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just open them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them comes without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill the lion we come conquer Judah tribe. Go through tribulation, and I strive, see sufferation, and I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come to tell them in a Toronto, straight at it.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I the First. Glory and honor in the name of his chosen queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bonsu, aka DejazmatchKwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an actionist, I'm a author, and tonight I am the host of a special edition of Lion Voice Live. Welcome to Lion Voice Live and welcome to the Lion Voice Network. I see Lion Pride and Patreon here from early. Blessing brethren. I was compelled to go live to do a special episode given what's happening geopolitically on the planet right now. It may not mean much to people right now in the moment, people coming from work, groceries, put the youths them, deal with the dinner, you know what I mean? All of these things are happening. But for a student of history, when we watch bombs falling from the sky like rain, you know what I mean? When we watch destruction and death spreading across the face of the planet Earth, you know what I mean? As Rastafari, I came from a school where I sat at the feet of elders. A night like tonight, as a young Ras, we would be trotting to the bingy house to hear what was the interpretation of today's events from our elders. These elders have now passed on. So I feel an obligation to hold space in the digital space for this reasoning, because it has to happen for the Rastafari family. These are signs and wonders that we are witnessing. You know what I mean? These are the beginning, the early days. And if you watch this channel, if you are someone who follows the channel, you will know that we predicted this day would come. We were early, and not necessarily even early, but just seeing the times for what it is and knowing that the escalation is not going to stop. We're in a escalation spiral right now that's going to continue to escalate and may reach nuclear war, apocalyptic. You know, you see all of the movies with the apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic. And who's to say that parts of the planet is not going to be like that? Look at Chernobyl right now in the same Ukraine. Look what's going on in them place there, you know what I mean? Apocalyptic, you know, Fukushima, Japan, you know what I mean? You have certain places on earth right now that you can't try them places because of nuclear fallout. So serious times right now. We're watching. What am I talking about? Some of the items are so busy you don't even know what me I talk about. What is the Ras talking about? I'm talking about the state of Israel launch an attack on Iran. And I'm talking about Iran responding today. You know, missile barrage falling on Tel Aviv, falling in Jerusalem. And naturally, when you see these things, you're going to look at a biblical, for those who come through that lineage, you're going to look at a biblical perspective. I and I, who also deal with international law, we're going to look at it from a legal perspective. Yes, I and I that deal with history as Rastafari ones, we're going to look at his speeches of His Majesty. We're going to do all of that tonight because I'm here to hold space. I don't business if it's the 7 brethren and sisters watching live right now and I, or if it go down to 2 or 1. We just want to hold space, you know what I mean, in this historic moment. I really mark the magnitude of what is taking place and then also ask some questions. Are we prepared for what is to come? Have we made preparation? Are we working together the way we need to be? Are we supporting the things that we need to support? Have we properly locked in? Are we still in party mode? Or are we checking the magnitude of the moment right now? You know, knowing what we know. And this is why, you know, I'm on perspective always include a biblical framework because of all of the different traditions, you know, the biblical really incorporate that prophetic tradition. And from I've been a young Ras for the prophecy that I see, I don't see it miss. You know what I mean? I see His Majesty utter them same narrative. So I'm happy with it, you know. And man, His Majesty said, when man sees his hopes and aspirations, all of these things, where must he go? So we're gonna touch that. I did some little thing with the AI just to see what the AI said, and the AI brought up some scripture. So I want to go over some of these prophecy that we can talk about, and use the comments. If you know if your lion pride is a reasoning, so the comment section is gonna be for ones to just put their reasoning. We're gonna go for a ride. This is part of the Rastafari tradition of reasoning. You know what I mean? And because of technology, now I can be in my gates and I can assemble a global family for reason with. Because I feel a way, like I said, as a young Ras, I would be going to the Naya Bingi house, seat up, a man would come in with some of the highest grade and sorry board and knife, and you get your water, a little lime, and sorry up. You know what I mean? The cup right now is some thunder and lightning outside, you know what I mean? Giving the atmospheric. So I want to hold some space with the family and make I reason about the Armageddon War. Because I think that's where we are, family. And you know, I wanna say, because a lot of people, you know, His Majesty put faith in the UN. I'm gonna be just sipping up a little. You know, I'm the reading Ras, right? Did I tell the item? Do I say it in front of every episode? Maybe. All right. So we're gonna go into the important utterances. His Majesty speaking to the United Nations about world peace, all of these things, and some of the concerns. The UN Security Council has met this evening. Again, there's no impact because there are political agendas. So as the world burns, the UN, which was the final hope for mankind, which was supposed to stop mankind from repeating the mistakes that led into the Second World War, the UN was supposed to be that stopgap. The UN has failed in its responsibility, and now it's a political. So, you know, with the veto power, no action is being taken on several conflicts around the world. On this platform, we say World War III has already started because we see the global chessboard laid out. No matter what the skirmishes are, most of them are proxy wars for the bigger skirmish, which is the East versus the former colonial powers, which we call the Western powers. The G7 countries, you have to throw in Japan, because Japan is traditionally aligned with the Western powers, although Japan now looks like they're pivoting and starting to try to have better relations in East Asia. But the chessboard is dynamic right now. So the international order that held up the world since the Second World War is crumbled. You know what I mean? It's crumbling. It's ineffectual. So right now we have returned to the era of the great powers, where bad man run the place. You know what I mean? Who have the military? We do what we feel like. That is the era that we're in, and this is what mankind has been in, you know, since leading up to the formation of the League of Nations and then subsequent the United Nations. And there's a tug of war that's happening. And this is why we can be confident that it's not going to stop, because the West was built off of badness. You know, that's the history is very clear. And without that badness, it cannot survive. The resources, you know, because the majority of the world's population is in the East. The humanity started in the East. The East has always been the place, you know what I mean? So the equilibrium, although the West came to dominance, the equilibrium is returning, and that is being fought. So there's no stopping what is happening right now. However, what we need to ask ourselves is, are we prepared? As Rastafari, Pan-African people, are we prepared? We're going to talk about that during this, but I want to just read a little piece of His Majesty sound on the United Nations for my global family. His Majesty said that the Charter of the United Nations organization embodies the fundamental hopes and aspirations of mankind, of the safeguarding of human rights, maintaining world peace. You hear that word? World peace. Raising the global standard of living, and for the advancing educational standards without making any distinction of race, sex, language, and religion. And these hopes and aspirations of mankind can only be of value when we ourselves are livicated to pursuing the goals set by showing abiding respect for the provisions of the Charter and by working for their ultimate realization. So Israel attacking Iran preemptively is a violation of the Charter. For those who may not be familiar, you cannot attack a nation just because you feel they might do something. You can defend yourself under the articles of the Charter. So what we're seeing is a complete breakdown of the international order that underpins the peace in the world. So what this is, when His Majesty went to the League of Nations, this is the question that he put up. You know, what fate will small countries be able to put in these big international agreements if the word sound doesn't mean nothing? In the beginning was the word, and the word was made flesh. You know what I mean? So when we say word sound is power, if the word doesn't have the action behind it, the word becomes just wind. It don't have power. This is why, as a brethren, don't lie. Make sure your word match. So when you call lightning, lightning strike. You know what I mean? Because you're so in alignment with creation. That was always the philosophy of Rastafari in the word. This is why the elders changed the English language to remove the negative, the spells, and the different things that encoded and embedded in the language. So His Majesty said, the Charter, the words which are noble and true, have to be abided. So right now we're in open violation of the Charter. He said, in word and deed, we must exemplify a resolute spirit to defend international morality when threatened, and if necessary, to suffer and die for truth and justice, so that this international morality will be reinforced and strengthened. And as we said on various occasions in the past, the responsibility for safeguarding of world peace is not limited to the great powers. Peace and war affect not only the big powers, but all mankind, and are therefore the concern of the peoples of the world. Because guess what now? Iran and Israel are war. Israel is threatening to destroy Iran's energy supply. What does that do to the world now? The price of gas goes to $300 a barrel. Right now is at probably $80-something a barrel. It goes to $300. What does that mean for you as a pump? It means you have to make a decision if you're going to fill up your tank or put food in the fridge. Whole earth goes into, you know what I mean? But it's a perfect conditions for a global reset too. So we have to think it from that. These wars is the best way to break down the Bretton Woods system, which was the system that grew up after the Second World War, and to implement a new system. I keep asking the family, are we ready? Are we still fighting not over petty differences and he said, she said, or are we making preparation diligently? Are we meeting daily with our brethren and sisters? Are we part of an organization? Are we giving financially to institutions that will create the alternative to Babylon? These are the questions I'm going to ask as we go through this reasoning. I'm reading from the important utterances. I am the reading Ras. So sometimes we just get the books them. I try to promote reading physical books. You see the symbol? The reading Ras symbol, because we try to promote reading physical books. Yes, the internet is nice, but if the internet goes down right now in a certain place, internet is restricted in a time of war. The national government can restrict the internet. Internet went down for some time in Iran. after the Israel started to do their bombing. So yes, I and I as Rastafari have to have physical books because there may be times you may be in a country that's in a conflict. You don't have access to the internet. You still want access to knowledge. So we're reading physical books from the important utterance. His Majesty Say, we're continuing. Cooperation and understanding are basic to the maintenance of world peace. Therefore, it is a duty of the international community to endeavor so that this spirit be strengthened and be made universal among all nations who hold the responsibility of safeguarding world peace. The peoples of the world draw new moral strength and hope from considering what the United Nations can do in achieving the objectives referred to above. Because the existence of the UN, disputes arising between two states, wherein the interest of one of them is trampling upon the other, become eventually a matter of international public opinion, which could influence the justice of the cause. The organization also has the power and the influence to reduce the temper of such conflicts and to mitigate the forces of evil before they reach a point of explosion that can destroy mankind. So you hear what His Majesty said the stakes are, they can destroy mankind. So don't look at this thing lightly. This is in the early 70s. These speeches, a lot of time we talk about the UN speech in 1963, October 6th, that Bob Marley made to war. But if you read later into the 70s, you see His Majesty was getting a little bit more concerned, less hopeful at the direction that the UN was going. He was calling for major reform to the UN and the Security Council and how it was constituted. Today we have the conflict in Gaza, no resolution, no stepping in of the UN Security Council. We have the conflict in Ukraine. We have the conflict in Congo. We have conflict in all throughout Africa, Northern Africa. We have conflicts, flaring around the world. And Sudan, and we don't have any intervention by the UN Security Council, when the Security Council is supposed to be there to impose peace between warring parties, calm down the temperature, put in a peacekeeping force, negotiate terms where the two countries so we can minimize, because remember, the civilians are the ones who are suffering in these countries. We are non-aligned. As Rastafari people, we stand with the people. We're non-aligned. We stand for truth and rights. We don't get into political debates and these things. We stand for righteousness. We are the ancient man of the earth from creation. So when we talk about these things, we're thinking about the civilian. Think about a family in Tehran right now, or even a family in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem who don't have nothing to do with this. Remember, say Ethiopians are there too, where Hebrew Israelites, brethren and sisters are there to whole heap of different people are just trying to live life. And because where they are now, they're in a war zone where bombs are dropped, hell on earth, fireballs from the sky. We're going to go to the Bible verse. Don't worry, I went into the AI because I'm a little rusty on my Bible verse then for the Armageddon, but we're going to talk about it tonight. But we have to start with His Majesty. To the UN, if you're just joining us, welcome. We're reasoning about the latest attacks. Israel unilaterally attacked Iran preemptively. Iran has rallied back. Open warfare in the Middle East, threatening to engulf the entire region. This is tied to prophecy. We have reports of the leader of Israel going to the Wailing Wall, which is the Temple of Solomon, and praying before the attacks were launched. What is the symbolism? We can go into all of these things. Some things I won't go into on YouTube because YouTube, you can get censored, and we don't want to go. So on the Patreon, and we are having our town hall meeting, Lion Pride, on Patreon, June 22nd. So we'll go into more if the Lion Pride and Patreon want to go touch into the nitty gritty. We can go, in a circle reasoning in terms of where exactly and what exactly and all these things. But right now, we just want to have a nice reasoning around what's happening. And a lot of people said, Ras, every time Israel and Iran get into it, you come Congo and go on, why highlight Congo or what's happening in the Sahel. And we do talk about these things, and we do have, our heart bleeds for our brethren and sisters on the continent. However, we know His Majesty Say Africa Armageddon has passed, and these conflicts are being fueled by the great powers. And this is why when the great powers are crashing themselves, we pay more attention because, when the elephants fight, they say the grass get trampled. So we have to know how to move. A lot of us are still domiciled in the warring factions amongst the former colonial countries. So we have to know how to move strategically on the chessboard, because we are people of peace. We didn't come to fight war in this time. We came to fight the heretical war and to build the gates of Zion. That was the task His Majesty gave to I and I. He took a militant stance for peace until they said he was senile. He refused to engage the Derg in warfare. They were trying to put him into a civil war, and he refused. Even his daughter Tananya Work was concerned how her father, wasn't fighting against the student uprisings. They wanted to go hard on the students. His Majesty said, allow them. The people, it's their time. If this is what the people want, let the people have what they want, because as a parent, there's a time you have to let your children grow and make mistakes. His Majesty did that. Militant stands for peace because he is Shiloh. What is Shiloh? Peace on earth. So someone has to stand for peace on earth, and it just so happened that it came from the banks of the River Nile, where the whole thing started. His Majesty reestablished it on earth. And it's easy to have peace when nothing's at stake, but when your own crown is at stake, it's the ultimate. And this is a man that fights in many wars, conquering lion, the tribe of Judah. But the end of this man that we saw recorded was peace. And so for I and I as Rastafari, we're called by his name. That is our militant stance for peace, to establish the hereafter, because this world is passing. We're watching the crumbling of this construct, this reality construct, and we're going into a futuristic golden age of Rastafari, Africa, the Pan-African. There are no limits any further. Spiritual age, science, and the Irish connecting to create, anything you can imagine, you can conceive in this Iowa. That is the time we're living in. Mighty Iowa. But that at the passing of each age, whole heap of bloodshed, whole heap of sweat, whole heap of tears. These are the three engines of change in iration: blood, sweat, and tears. And we're seeing all of them right now flow like rivers. Blood, sweat, and tears. A serious time, my people. Let me continue though. All right. His Majesty said the activities of the United Nations organization can raise the standard of living of people throughout the world. However, how can it be possible for this great task to be accomplished satisfactorily when some states do not implement the decisions of the organization? You hear it now? How could the last hope of mankind achieve its noble objectives when some states are pursuing their own selfish ends by defying the authority of the international organization? Does it not mean that if the solutions to the problems facing the world are not found by the organization, and if these, when found, are not accepted by all member states, the international body is growing weaker and weaker? These are the warnings in the early 70s, family, that we don't touch these speeches of His Majesty. I'm reading from the important utterances. We're getting into the nitty-gritty. We feel that the UN, in its efforts to provide a body of international law and to secure its respect, has fallen short of expectation. Serious thing, family, and it's still falling short. What course of action should small nations pursue vis-a-vis the prevailing constitutional framework of the United Nations organization and the existing international situation? Small nations ought to refrain from making themselves tools for igniting friction between the great powers. Proxy wars were happening from even them time there. Receiving development aid and other forms of foreign assistance should not be conditional by obligations to take sides. You see, bribery and them thing there. In order to achieve this goal, they must not only adhere to a policy of political non-alignment, but they should also oppose and proscribe consistently all small conflicts brought about by the prevailing international Cold War. At a time when we are striving hard to halt the armaments race, we are convinced that a nuclear war threatens to devastate the whole world. Family, it's 2025. We have never been closer to nuclear war than we are right now. The great powers are openly in aggression with them one another. US is fighting Russia through a proxy in Ukraine. US is now fighting with China and Russia through the proxy of Iran. Let me talk about the chessboard now. Iran is a major oil producer. They produce a lot of oil for China. They also have a link to the Persian Gulf, and there's the Belt and Road Initiative is creating a line straight from the Persian Gulf, straight through China, through Russia, all of these countries. Iran is a key node in that linkage, which would allow them to skip out the whole western side and connect that whole Eurasia. So the East is setting itself up to be able to cut out the whole western thing because the population centers are over there. They can trade with Africa, they can trade with themselves. They are cutting themselves off from the West, and Europe and the West have said no. So this war is a very serious thing that's happening on the global chessboard, and it's only going to get more dangerous. Family, are we prepared? Are we ready? Are we still bickering over petty differences? Are we still calling our brethren and sisters with he shed, she shed, or are we starting businesses together? Are we pooling our resources, starting susus, coming together, making trips to the continent, scouting, building, developing, putting together? That's the time right now. And let me just give a plug. We just dropped an episode of Lion Love, episode 5, myself and Dr. Jazanai Kush. If you haven't seen, after I go after live, go and watch it. We talk about Rastafari relationships, rebuilding the Rastafari family, how the sister in them, you know what I mean, doing all kind of vibration, looking for a king man, intimacy in Rastafari, polygamy. We talk about all kind of topics. So after I come off the live, go and check it out and see Lion Love, because we are in solution mode. And if you're a single lion right now, you need to couple up. This is not the time to be out a road or spend money and, you know what I mean, wasting your time dating game. This is time to find a queen. And what we're doing is that we're going to provide a safe space in the Lion Pride and Patreon for single brethren and sisters to meet in there too. And we have a deal with Lalabella Institute, which is Ras's Jazanai. She has a program for couples to vet each other, different questions, different meetings. So we're going to be structuring all of that in the Patreon. So if you're a single brethren, single sister looking, and that don't mean that you come in there and you're going like a shark. No, that means that we have like minds, we have town hall meetings, we're going to have different opportunities. You let people know your status, and maybe someone send you a direct message and when you see that there's something there, you link Lalabella Institute, you go through the process and see if there's compatibility. This is what we're doing. You know, we have to accelerate the development of our nation, and we need stable families. And I know that, you know, for example, we just had a brethren join the Lion Pride. He's in Kentucky. He don't have a lot of Rastas in his area, but he may want a Rastafari queen. Where is he going to meet that queen? He can come now and be a part of the Lion Pride on Patreon. And the queen know, okay, at least his brethren willing to invest in a Rastafari institution, Lion Voice Network. That's one aspect of the vetting. Like mind, he's taking an action. And you start to reason, and maybe you enjoy each other's reasoning, and then you take it to the next level by going through the Lalabella Institute process. But watch the episode of Lion Love. This is all part of the preparation for Armageddon. You should not be trying to trudge through this time by yourself. 2 incomes are better than 1. 2 minds are better than 1 to navigate the complexities of what is coming. Food shortage may be on the way. You know what I mean? Collapse of the banking institutions. Any card can play right now, family. We are in a war. It's just, I remember the global economy is all connected, so anything can happen right now. It's time to have someone you can trust with you, not sleeping with someone where you don't know if you could trust them. If something happened to you, can they take you to the hospital and deal with your affliction? That is the time we're in. So we're providing a safe space in the Patreon. Join us. We're building a virtual village on the platform. But let us continue forward with His Majesty word sound. It's very serious. I'm just going to do the last paragraph here. He says, today, the great powers should also wake up to the realization of the fact that the key to their destiny and future happiness does not lie in their own hands alone. There is no peace without cooperation. So preemptive missile strikes are out of the question. What we see happening today is complete violation of the international order necessary for world peace. You cannot preemptively attack somebody and expect peace to reign. So it's very serious. There is no peace without cooperation. Be it known that the principles enshrined in the Charter and the resolutions adopted by the organization are not there only for the small nations to respect and to implement. In efforts being made to ease the gravity of world problems, small nations should have a say. Their voices should be heard. An atmosphere of mutual trust and confidence cannot be established when the rights of small nations are not being accorded the same respect as those of the big powers. In order to accomplish these tasks, it is essential to rouse the conscience of mankind. Strength and mutual trust are 2 indispensable qualities for achieving the common goal. Even if there is strength, a common ground of mutual confidence must be established. To establish this, we must work diligently. Once we are able to do what is humanly possible, the rest could be left to the Almighty Jah, so that man, who he has created in his own image, may not be destroyed. Let us repose our faith in the Almighty Eye. So, His Majesty always a warn international powers, the great powers, because ultimately these countries are the proxies of great powers, you know, because without the great powers, war is one of the most expensive businesses. And war is a business. Don't get it twisted. It's a business. Right now, if you're invested in military industrial complex, you're bid right now. You know what I mean? The stocks, the factories are running 24 hours a day. You know what I mean? So war is a business. Don't get it twisted. So right now, this is a very serious thing that's happening, and don't expect things to cool off. And this is what I want to tell my people. This is why I said I'm going to go live on a Friday. We don't regularly go live on a Friday. The Lion Pride know that. But I said, if I was a young Ras and we were in them time there, we would be trotting up to the Naya Bingi house right now on a Friday. Story board come out, elders them would be there holding court, talking about what was happening on the TV. The TV would be running silently in the background, and we'll watch the images, story board, chalice. You know what I mean? These were the days. It's a different time now. However, we're a global village, and the Lion Pride, we're building a community. So I said, let me just hold some energy around what's happening. If you're just joining us, we are talking about the state of Israel's preemptive strike on Iran. Iran has answered forward. Ballistic missiles falling on Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. The generals of Iran's military wiped off of the face of the earth. Nuclear scientists wipe off of the face of the earth. All of these things are happening currently. And both sides are saying they're not going to stop. It's going to escalate. Will Egypt get involved? The genocide in the Gaza Strip is still happening. Egypt is there. On the border, the army waiting, trying to prevent the people from getting pushed into Egypt. Will the army, Egypt intervene? Turkey has condemned the strike and said if it doesn't stop, they're threatening they may get involved. The Ottoman Empire, the Turks. These are ancient empires rising. These are the culmination. Is this the Armageddon family? Let me know in the comments if you think this is Armageddon or if you think this is just regular happenings and go on, nothing too drastic, Ras. You know? Let me know how the item see it, you know? I'm gonna bring up we're gonna look at the Bible verses. Let me share my screen here. I put it into Google Gemini, which is an AI. We're gonna do a whole series. We're doing Rastafari and STEM using AI, different things. So I'm gonna be doing a whole series. We're gonna have some guests come on to talk about AI, how is that used for INA, how can we use it as a tool, but we use it to frame out things, and I thought it would be interesting to see what we could find in AI. So we're gonna, let me just share my screen here, and we are going to look at hold on there. Let me see here, family. My producer is not here. Let me see here, family. Is that the right thing that is there? Is that the right thing, family? No, that was not the right thing. All right, family. We are going to get it right. All right, see it here? All right, so I put it in to the can the item see that? There we go. All right, so it says the concept of Armageddon is primarily found in the book of Revelation in the New Testament, while prophecies about wars involving Israel and its neighbors, including a nation identified as Persia, modern-day Iran, are found in the Old Testament. Here's a breakdown of relevant Bible verses, and this is the question, the prompt. What are the Bible verses that deal with the Battle of Armageddon, and which ones could relate it to a war between the state of Israel and neighbors such as Iran? So it says the Battle of Armageddon, the term, Revelation 6:16. So let me take out, I do have a physical Bible here, old school. I am the reading Ras, you know, so we like physical books. So we're going into the book of Revelation. and I know enough people don't deal with the Bible, and you know that is part of the thing. But we do have our African Hebrew Israelite brethren who deal with the Bible, and other ones who deal with the Bible from them time there. His Majesty deal with it. We have our Orthodox brethren and sisters. Once His Majesty deal with it, I man will deal with it. You know what I mean? I think is relevant. Revelation 16:16. I'm going to start a little bit before that. This is the different angels. And I'll start from Revelation 16:12. It says, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. And where is the river Euphrates? It's in Iran. You know what I mean? So the region, this is the prophecy. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, and the way of the kings of the east might be prepared, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. So it's talking about army getting ready to march on that region from the river Euphrates. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth, and unto the whole earth, to gather them to the battle of the great day of God Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. And he gathered them together in a place called, in the Hebrew tongue, called Armageddon. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven, saying, from a throne, saying, it is done. You understand? Serious thing. Coming out to the river Euphrates, you know what I mean? And you have all this shuttle diplomacy happening with people whispering, whole heap of whispering to the world leaders is going on right now. But all we know is that at the end of the whispers, it keep leading to more war. So when we talk about the unclean spirits going to and fro on the earth, yes, a lot of it's not televised, but when we look at the results, what is it leading to? It's leading to this war. The war don't make no sense, you know. Remember, the war don't make no sense. With the technology we have, there's no reason for man to fight a next man right now. Everybody, because each of these countries that are fighting are falling apart internally. So they don't need to fight. They're broke. They don't have no money to fight. It's not necessary. We pass that as human beings, but still we see it. So this is where the spiritual come in, the unclean spirits, you know what I mean? Gathering the kings of the earth for the great battle. So this great battle is coming, you know, whether it's spiritually, if you don't deal with prophecy, you just have to be a political analyst, look at the chessboard and know that the great battle is coming. This thing is not going to end nicely, you know what I mean? So we got to know that. And then it says, and there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as not seen since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. And the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell. The great Babylon came in remembrance before the Almighty, to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of the heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed the Almighty because of the plague of hail, for the plague thereof was exceedingly great. So when you talk about hail, it can be hail, or it could be debris from all of the missile fire that's coming down, because guess what happened? When you go to these war zones right now, you know, the way how war is being fought right now, you know, anti-aircraft missile systems are missile systems. So whether or not the missile hit, the intercept missiles go up, the thing smash into a million pieces, hail coming down, electronic hail. So it can be all kind of interpretation when you look upon these things, you know. Earthquake, bunker buster bombs, earthquakes, you know what I mean, causing. No, it can be a great earthquake too. We're watching it unfold, but you know what I mean. You have to remember when you're dealing with prophecy, you know, it's how a man see it, but it can manifest in the physical world in various ways. You know what I mean? Because it's real. So Revelation 16, the other thing it says, while the word itself appears once, the broader context of this final battle is described more in detail. Revelation 16:14, I read that. Revelation 19. Let me check out Revelation 19. Revelation 18 is something that you have to read too. Is very relevant to this time. But Revelation 19, you can just read it. It says, and after these things I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Hallelujah, salvation and glory and honor and power unto the Almighty, our Jah. For true and righteous are his judgments, for he has judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and has avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. So when His Majesty went to the League of Nations, he judged them, the great whore of Babylon, by her own law. And at that time, you know, the world power was England. England fell. After that, America took the reins. But they were judged. And again, they said, Hallelujah, and her smoke rose up forever and ever. And the 24 elders and the 4 beasts fell down and worshipped the Almighty that sat on the throne, saying, Amen, Hallelujah. And the voice came out of the throne, saying, Praise our Almighty, all ye his servants, and all ye that fear him, both small and great. And I heard, as it were, the voice of a great multitude, and as a voice of many waters, and as a voice of mighty thundering, saying, Hallelujah, for the Almighty is omnipotent, reigneth. Let us be glad and rejoice, give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come. His wife has made herself ready, and to her was granted that she should be arrayed with linen clean and white, and for the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. So it talk about the lamb, but it also talk about the female principle, his wife, Empress Menen. You know what I mean? The male and the masculine and the feminine balance. You know what I mean? Serious thing, you know. This is prophecy. It could have manifest to John in a vision, in a dream. But the African, we know that that's spiritual. We always do. That's how we know too that the prophecy is an African story. Because this is how we work. We work through vision. You know what I mean? Through and we see these things manifest. And I fell, and he said to I, Right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he said unto I, These are the true sayings of the Most High. And I fell unto his feet to worship him. And he said unto I, See thou, do it not. I am thy fellow servant of thy brethren, and have the testimony of Yeshua. Worship the Almighty, for the testimony of Yeshua is the spirit of prophecy. You see it there? And I saw the heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he does judge and make war. And These are seminal prophecy for early Rastafari. When they read this, people would have seen the eye tread of His Majesty on the white horse during the Italian invasion, and in righteousness he does make war, and so whole heap of them thing were deemed as fulfilled. And his eyes were as flames of fire, and on his head he wore many crowns, a triple crown, and his name written that no man knew but he himself. Of course, he would have known His Majesty was baptized as Haile Selassie at 40 days, and all of those people passed, who were there. He himself had to know the name. All them things there is part of the Rastafari tradition. And he was clothed in a vesture dipped in blood. The coronation picture with the crimson, the red, all of these things are symbology. So these are basic things, and we can do an episode where we talk about how this relates, but these are basic connections when you're a young Ras, when you would have learned at the feet of the elders on a Friday night like this, where bombs are dropping around the world. We would have come in and we would read these things. Like I said, the room would be a cloud, chalice, and the elders seated, and a man put in this, and then a man take it to 18 this, and him call up some history, and then we're going forward in the prophecy. I miss those days, I'm not gonna lie. That's why I had to go live with the Lion Pride and say, make with us whole a meditation. This is not a regular live, we just a whole of vibes, as we used to do in the early days of the Rastafari Chad with the elders. Put in a little modernization, we use a little AI, but we still have the physical book. I'm here reading from the prophecy, Revelation. We have some of our brethren and sisters from around the world seated up around them station, and a whole of energy. And we're holding a vibe. Let me see who's in the comments. Akashic, bless up yourself, hail up, Lion Pride and Patreon checking in. My elder Bongo Wisely. Bongo Wisely, there I know them days, where we used to reason in the earlys. Akashic, I see many still bickering. Is a reality, and it's unfortunate, If you're just joining us, we're talking about the preemptive military strike of Israel to Iran, inflaming World War III. Iran has responded with ballistic missiles. Open war is now taking place in the Middle East. And we're saying, is this tied to the prophecy, the Armageddon War? I've talked on this platform about it. The ultimate goal of the rebuilding of the third temple of Solomon, which would require the destruction of the Alas Mosque in Jerusalem, which would bring down global war of civilization between the Islamic world and the Western world. Are the Israeli hardliners going to be able to force this? This is now openly being discussed in the news, by the way. So what I'm saying, it used to be very fringe. Right now, if you go to alternative media, they're talking about these prophecies, and you're hearing the Bible reference. Netanyahu, in his speech to the Iranian people, referenced that the Jews and the Persians were friends from Cyrus the Great. You're hearing these ancient names being invoked as the war is being pursued. So this is a serious time, people. So even if you don't deal with the Bible, it's very important that you understand the story or the narrative that's being played out right now. And this is Armageddon narrative that's being played out right now. So we have to go to the source, which is the prophecy. If you missed earlier, you can go watch this. We went through a speech of His Majesty to the UN from the early 70s, where he was warning the UN about this. We see the UN Security Council has met today. They're doing nothing as they usually do, nothing. Speeches, it's just become a place where you hear two speech. But in terms of intervening to stop conflict, it hasn't happened. So we're here reading. All right. It says that And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and again the coronation garment. And his name was called the Word of God, might of the Trinity. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, League of Nations speech, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and tread it the winepress of the fierceness and the wrath of the Almighty. And he shall have on his vesture and on his thigh the name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And this must a seal in Jamaica. This must a seal, family. Now tell the item very serious. What took place? Very, very serious. So we're reading from Ezekiel chapter 38. And the word of the Almighty came unto I, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, and the land of Magog, and the chief of prince of Meshach and Tubal, and the prophecy against him, and say, Thus saith the Almighty, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, and the chief prince Meshach and Tubal. I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, and the house of Togarma, and the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company, that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So let me just interpret, because that can be confusing. It's important to know this because these are passages that are being used by the hardliners in Israel to justify the attack that they have on the neighbors. So when they say Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, this is why Somalia, this is why Sudan under inflamed. There's a policy paper called Operation Clean Break. Famous American General Wesley Clark talks about America having to invade 7 nations in I think 5 years on behalf of State of Israel. This is based on these passages that in the latter days these nations would rise against Israel. So if you don't know the root of where these things are coming from, then you would make the mistake to think that this is just a political conflict. This is not a political conflict. This is a conflict where politics are being used, but it's spiritually motivated. They're using biblical prophecy as justification for colonialism, you know what I mean? And this is where they're fulfilling the book. It doesn't matter how the book will be fulfilling, but the book will be fulfilled. So this is why we need to be cognizant of these things. So again, I always say on this platform, know where we are on the global chessboard. Where are you on the global chessboard? You have to know if you move. You have to know that if they believe that we're at this part of the story, then there's not going to be an ease up. That means that things are going to get worse. So this is not the time to be splurging. This is the time to be conserving, to be saving, to be planning, to be sharpening, to be exercising, to be sharpening. This is a time where you come together. This is not the time of the lone lion and the lioness and you are by yourself and you're rougher than concrete. And this is not that time. This is organized and centralized and come as one. You know what I mean? This is not, and people who know I know, you can't call I with no gossip about someone. If it's not about that idea or how we're going to make history, how we're going to do something positive. My hobby is to talk good about people behind their back. You're not going to get me in a no loose argument right now in the Armageddon. Because I don't have time for it. Because my thing is I could be using that time to spend with my children. Why am I going to be with the item or disparage someone unless we come in with a solution? Why am I engaged in that, in this Armageddon? So we have to be prepared. It's a serious time, my people. Very serious. So we're going forward here. This was Ezekiel 38 and 39. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but ones can go check it. Talking about Persia, Ethiopia, Libya. And it says these chapters describe a massive invasion of Israel by a coalition of nations led by Gog of the land of Magog, and the allies mentioned include Persia, modern-day Iran, Kush, often identified with Ethiopia and Sudan, and you see Ethiopia as being destabilized as well. Gomer, often be associated with parts of modern-day Turkey. Put, often established with Libya. Beth Togama, often associated with modern-day Turkey, Armenia. And by the way, the president of Turkey, Erdogan, or his name, but he sent a threat to Israel and said, if you don't cut it off, we're gonna stop. Turkey is a part of NATO, but Turkey have the largest army in the region. You know what I mean? Probably close to 1 million man army. So this thing is gonna escalate, and this is what, again, they're preparing for. This is why Operation Clean Break and some of these policy papers are being made. And I can't get into too much here because I don't want my channel to be demonetized. I don't want thing, but I have to talk to my people, Rastafari family, and just let I know that we have to prepare. We're not taking sides other than if you're killing innocent civilians, know that judgment is on your shoulder. So both, because none of them are clean, you know, the evil shall slay the wicked. You know what I mean? No one hands are clean. Is the people who are suffering, the innocent people in all of these places that are suffering. So I'm not gonna go too deep. If we want to go deep, we do it in our town hall meeting, Lion Pride on Patreon. But for right now, I'm just sounding the trumpet for the Rastafari family to know that war is afoot, and you know we have to be diligent. So even when I'm appealing for strength in the Patreon to my family, we need more the ones them around the world to step up and join us. You know what I mean? Because institutions like the Lion Voice Network need to be viable economically, so we can hire staff, we can go and do interviews. You know, I'm running into issues with Wi-Fi now, and again, with this destabilization, the price of fuel is going to go up, internet is going to be rougher. You know what I mean? All of these things we have to consider. So we need to come together as a family so we can put things together as Rastafari people. We got to build fast, and we got to isolate our supply chain from this global system so that when it breaks down, we can still have our ITAL SIP. We can still serve the people. And Rastafari is not an isolationist in our communities. We service, you know, we're Pan-African. We service, you know, that is why the Ras is love wherever the Ras there. People know so they can count on the Ras. The Ras have a help out. So we want to put ourselves in a place of that nobility, prosperity, so we can help more people. We want to get rid of this poverty paradigm. And the only way we're going to do that is to come together in these times. So, you know what I mean? Family. I said I was going to just go live. It was impromptu. I was watching the bombs them falling. And I said, you know what? Let me just come to the family and make a whole of joy like I used to as a young Ras. Going to the Naya Bingi house, you know, Herb on the Suri board, elders them holding court, going through the prophecy, you know, man pop out them prophecy, and then little more we go and go chant some Isis, and we stop, you know, pattern bubble, sip the soup, or you know what I mean. I wanted to recreate that because in these times, historic times, we're gonna look forward on these times and know that this was the beginning of something terrible. You know what I mean? We pray for I and I to survive what is to come, and we want to prepare ourselves. We want to prepare ourselves by sounding the trumpet to the family. I don't know how the item see it. We're going to be going live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time, 12 p.m. Jamaica time with Ras Tafari. I have some chuds I have to make, so we're going to have to go live a little early. So mark your calendar, reading Ras on the front line. We have 3 books, Dread History, Royal Parchment Scrolls of Black Supremacy, Philosophies and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. We're going to be going into those 3 books. You know, Frontline is one of our sponsors. So every month, sit down with Ras Sekou, we go through books in his catalog, and we ask the item to purchase the books, support Rastafari business, and we, you know, it's a regular feature. We also are going live on Monday for Leonard Howell, the Honorable Leonard Howell, Earthstrong. Join I, good brethren, Dr. Kadamawi Knife coming forward, and next good brethren, Dr. Jelani Naya, 2 university professors, top academics, will be on the platform talking about the legacy of Pinnacle and how Pinnacle, the lessons that we can learn in terms of taking us forward into this Rastafari golden age. As Babylon falls, I and I ascend. As these false concepts burn, I and I grow from the ashes. So Rastafari, we are in a new era. and it creates new thinking. But we don't want to lose the foundation that made us special, the reasoning. You know what I mean? Whether you subscribe to the Bible or not, it's important for you to know why the moves are being made on the chessboard. Do you know that Israel is looking at these nations as enemies, which is why it has gone on a global destabilization mission to preempt this Armageddon and make sure that they can win this Armageddon war. So it don't matter what you believe, but you should know these things. And His Majesty Say, look to the Bible, you know what I mean, man's hopes and dreams, and you will find in there, you know, the great solution and the answers. And we see it, repatriation is in there. All of these things that we are moving toward are in there. We just have to know our lane. Our lane is not to go pick up no gun and go fight no war with nobody. Right now, our lane is to build, you know what I mean, health center, school, you know what I mean, utilize the hemp, build clothes, new alternative, ITAL standard, everything beautiful, gardens, every street lined with gardens instead of lawns. You know what I mean? We're transforming the slums into gardens, ghettos to gardens, permaculture. We're revitalizing the soil. This is the mission of Rastafari in this time, healing the earth. You know what I mean? The healing of the nation, freeing the plants from persecution, the animals from persecution. This is the great role of I and I, Rastafari sons and Ayatas. The war angels them will war. You know what I mean? The evil shall slay the wicked and the rebellious shall dwell in a dry land. But I and I, sons and daughters of Kadamawi, Haile Selassie, the first, we are here to have the exit strategy. Free the people from Babylon. You know what I mean? So we have to stay focused. But to do this, we have to dash with some of the dirty ways them, petty difference, the lack of trust, the lack of investment in each other, where we don't support each other. We have to burn them thing there to the ground so that we can set a stable foundation, because until we can employ our youths, we're not going to retain our youth then. We're going to see the generations them drifting away. So we have to be serious. We don't just watch these things on news and say, wow, look at that, and wait till the supply chain collapse and you go to the store and the shelf them bare, and then that's when you start panic because Walmart don't have no food, or whatever your local grocery store, because the oil is $3,000 a barrel and the trucks them can't move. You know what I mean? Hold on there. Let me see what a brethren say. He said the Bible is fake, God is not real. I mean, the eye is open to your interpretation, brethren. You know what I mean? That works for the eye. We're not here to convince any man right now. This is not convincing time and to argue. You come on to argue, and no, this is not that. Show us your solution, and we will gladly give you some moments, but we're not into the back and forth. That is not the time right now. I'm a Gideon. You know what I mean? So for all of those who like to argue, I tell the Lion Pride, don't get into that right now. We have things to do. We're in implementation right now. You know what I mean? We don't have no time to gaze, as Sizzla Kalonji would say. There's no time to gaze. Them a try to store up and a try to corrupt and bring him and create. We don't have no time for that right now. Right now is building. If it's not building, if it's not making history, if it's not positive vibration, we are not dealing with that right now, my brother. So if a man don't love the Bible, God go with know. I hear Kadama with Haile Selassie the first, he say he glory in the Bible. If your resume can match His Majesty, I will give you the same amount of time. You know what I mean? Show me your achievements and how them stack up to His Majesty. And that is who I choose to follow. You know what I mean? If somebody else live up to that standard, then I give them the time. But if not, brethren, you're free. And we agree to disagree. That's the thing we have to overstand as part of the Pan-African family, you know. This kind of colonial mentality where if a man don't agree with you, he's your enemy. That is a backward way of thinking. I'm not gonna go to a Muslim mosque and try to tell the Muslims say why my talk is foolishness. I'm gonna live up and him I go see I live up and we move together. If we see something that we agree on, then we work on that. Where we disagree, we go our separate ways and go at the mosque, we go at Naya Bingi, and we link up and we two we are brethren. So this kind of mentality of I'm gonna come on your platform and tell you say foolishness you talk. This is not the place for that, no brother. You know, I mean love the eye as my brother. You know what I mean? Because even my own fleshy called brother, I disagree with sometimes. So I don't have no problem with that. My father and I will talk on the phone and disagree for hours, and we love each other. So I have no problem with disagreeing with a brethren. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna argue. No, don't get me wrong. If a man come with some facts and some things, and we can have a reasoning around it, because I love to sharpen the sword, you know. And I don't like yes man either. You know what I mean? I love when people come and you sharpen up and give you some new information. Rasas Jazz and I, in the latest edition of Lion Love, she came with some facts I didn't know about His Majesty and Empress Menen. I love that. You know what I mean? I never try flex like me know everything. I'm the reading Ras for a reason. I love to read and stimulate my brain and learn new things and build new synapses. I love doing that, you know what I mean? So if you come with that approach, you will always have a brethren with I. But if you come and try tell me, say what me I do is foolishness, and then if me look at what the eye has built and I can't really see what you really build, or you know what I mean? I'm gonna go right forward to Kadamawi Haile Selassie the first. Rastafari is global. Me travel the whole world and me see the power. You know what I mean? So I not try convince a guy. You know what I mean? I not try convince a man. I tell the eye. This verse highlights the futility of engaging in arguments or disputes with those lacking wisdom. Okay, I didn't even see the verse. Hold on, let me see if I missed something here. Okay, Proverbs 29:9. All right, let's go into it. Let's go into it. We're going into Proverbs 29 because I'm the reading Ras. I like to learn, family. I like to learn. I don't pretend to know everything. I'm King Solomon, who write the Proverbs. They have a whole heap of wisdom. 29:9. 29:9 says, if a wise man contended with a foolish man, whether he rage or laugh, there is no rest. And that is it. And I don't even want to call the brethren a foolish man. It's just enough of we, you know what I mean? We in that colonial kind of domination. I want to dominate. You have to believe what I believe or you're an idiot. You know what I mean? And Africans, we never move them with. I mean, I can't say never because tribalism is real. But we shouldn't, you know what I mean? In our golden ages, we appreciate of diversity. Ethiopia, so many different faiths dwell there. So, you know what I mean? We just have to have tolerance, you know, and that is one thing as the Lion Pride, you know, as a brethren who has been put into a leadership position, I try to cultivate that because if we're going to beat tribalism, we can't face it with aggression and come with the same. And that's why I say this is a dangerous platform for peepers. Because if you come here with a bad vibration, you're not going to get no reciprocity and those positive vibration. And like I say, you come with a negative, soon me and your brethren, because I'm not going to fight the eye. Why am I fighting the eye? Because you're not going to convince her if you change who I am. I try this every day. I'm battlefield tested, you know what I mean? Got through situations, life on the line for Kadamawi Haile Selassie, and him never fail. So it don't make sense me try convince a man this or that. Work with what you work with, my brother. You know what I mean? Lion Voice Network is a testament to the power. And we're just getting started here. The item are going to see how this platform grows into a massive, internationally renowned platform without watering down anything, just by upholding the teachings and example of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Selassie the First, because I want us to know and to see as Rastafari, as Pan-African family, the divine power that is exemplified, because these ones are forcing Armageddon War, but again, the conquering line of the tribe of Judah is not something you can force and take these titles, you know what I mean? It's something that is bestowed by God and history, you know what I mean, by lineage, by tradition, you know, that you are esteemed. His Majesty never come and tell the people he's the Almighty. It's the people declare him as the Almighty, you know what I mean? So these are the principles that we uphold and we deliver. But we've been online now, an hour and 30 minutes. Are there any sounds that ones want to share? You know what I mean? Let me see the comments here. Mike just a fire shot in the comments. A fool is a person who does not believe, as the Bible says. God's word is life to those that find it. Mike, give us a fire shot. His word washes you clean from unrighteousness. We eat from the fruit of our lips. Play a song that gives praise unto the Most High. What I would say because I didn't grow up with the Bible. I grew up in a Pan-African home. My father is more of a Pan-African socialist. I didn't go to church. I didn't grow up. So, a lot of people are scarred by the Western church upbringing. I didn't have that baggage. I came to the Bible through Ethiopia, the study of Ethiopia, His Majesty, and by seeing that the only place where Black people remained free and independent over the millennia was where they held on to this tradition. And to me, if it's true, it must have validation on earth. There must be, if it's heavenly, then there should be an equivalent on earth. And when I look at Ethiopia and the embodiment and the throne, that is what convinced I that the Bible held validity. You know what I mean? Because the Ethiopians, when you look throughout the entire historical narrative, are exalted. And when you hear the story from the Ethiopians themselves, they point to this tradition as being valid. And they held the most complete version of this prophecy. The book of Enoch was only preserved in the Ethiopian Bible. And before they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, where they also found excerpts of the book of Enoch, there was no other place that you could find it, you know what I mean, than in its complete form than in the Ethiopian Bible. The preservation of these Asian texts, the book of Jubilees, the book of Light, all of these things that the Ethiopians held on parchment scrolls, passed them from generation to generation, almost destroyed by the Muslim invasion of Grand the Left-Handed. These things were preserved in blood, sweat, and tears. You know what I mean? So as Ethiopia to I, that really, you know what I mean, show I the way. Kashik, Lion Pride and Patreon family, he said, I agree, it's time to get serious about the works. Food security, clean water, working together. Are any of us ready for the power to go out, for the internet to go out if global shipping breaks down? So the brethren knows what I'm saying. This is why we're bringing these things to the family. You know what I mean? All cards are on the table. These people are not thinking about humanity. They are living out what they deem is the prophecy. They believe the Creator is on their side, and they will bring down everything, you know what I mean, to accomplish their goal. And global shipping is very perilous if you look at what COVID taught us, you know what I mean. So We have to be ready. I look upon the Amish them. They probably will be the only community, the Mennonites and certain traditional Christian communities that don't too mix up. We can be the same equivalent as Rastafari, where you're integrated but you're not integrated. Because the Mennonite them still sell their products to the regular people, come to the farmers market, buy them produce, them know it's organic, this, that. But they're not too, we can do something similar, but we don't have to not have no technology. We can implement the technology with what we are do as well. You know what I mean? So anything that we want to do, we can do it. However, we have to have a plan. It's not a fantasy vibration where just because you go a reggae show and you drink a Guinness, you go Zion. That's not how it works. You can sing out the song, you go Zion. That's not how it works. You have to have a plan. You have to work with your brothers and sisters, and you have to implement the plan, or you too will go down with Babylon. The judgment is non-partial. If you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, then, you know what I mean? You can be the most righteous, but if the ballistic missiles are coming in, or the drones are coming in, you're in problem. So we have to, and the only way you're going to avoid these things is if you're spiritually in tune. You move when your spirit say to move. You get the blessing when the blessing to come, because your frequency is aligned. So this is why we have to be on Armageddon timing, because you don't want to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And the only way that can happen to you is if you're spiritually out of alignment. So now is the time for us to get serious, for us to really tighten up the machinery. Not going to go too much longer because we all have things that we have to do. We're going live tomorrow at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time with Ras Sekou Tafari, reading Ras on the Frontline. We're going live again on Monday with Dr. Kadamawi Knife and Dr. Jelani Naya to go into the history of Pinnacle, Leonard Howell, Earthstrong. We're looking at Sankofa. How do we take lessons from Pinnacle to build this Rastafari golden age that's coming? Rastafari started as a prosperous movement, wealthy movement, until the ganja raids in the 1950 on Pinnacle that plunged the movement into poverty. We're going to go into the history and see how we can bring forward the agribusiness model, community model, collective security model in this modern time. We decided to go live, if you're just joining us, because we saw Israel launch an attack on the Islamic Republic of Iran. Iran answer back, ballistic missiles to Israel. Israel said they're going to answer back. Iran said they're going to answer back. America said them are going to jump in. This thing is not looking good. We are going down the line to global war, food insecurity, all of the bad things them look like they're out to happen. We are here as Rastafari, independent, non-aligned media, making sure that we're having the reasonings that we need to have right now. So family, how you feel? How you sound? How we sound? This is again just a reasoning. When I was a young Ras, we would be up at the Naya Bingios right now, at the foot of our elders, Ras Iris, Brother Jack, Mama Faraika, Mama Bubbles, you name it. We would have a whole ensemble, Lion. We would have a whole ensemble of ancient. Brother Carl, Brother Roy would pass through and would sit up and whole of it up in the Trueberry or down in the sanctuary and reasoning of one, chalice a bubble, food a bubble, you know what I mean, and the whole settings, TV, if we're up in the Trueberry TV on in the background, we'll watch the clips them of the bombs them a drop and we interpret, we'll reason. This was part of the Rastafari tradition that is not happening so much again, but because we have an international platform, we said, let us recreate some of that vibe. We started off from the important utterances, reading the speeches of His Majesty. We went into some of the biblical prophecy, to see some of the pretext of why this war is happening. We talk about some of the geopolitics, and all of it together encapsulate a Rastafari vibration. What did we miss? Let us know down in the comments. We will continue again. Join us here tomorrow at 1 p.m. for the Reading Ras on the Frontline. If you have not watched Lion Love with Ras Jazz and I, we're talking about arranged marriage, we're talking about polygamy, we're talking about intimacy, we're talking about single Christian, dealing with bald brethren. We go into all of it. It's available right now on the platform Lion Love episode 5. We have whole heap of content coming, big interviews, whole heap of exclusive material. Make sure you keep it locked. We are Rastafari International, non-aligned media, independent. Town hall meeting coming June 22nd. ARC Exchange, we'll have some information about that as well. Let me hold on. Let me just put up. This flyer here. Let me do this. Let me add to this stage. Yeah. All right. This is the flyer for Monday. What a joy it's gonna be. So make sure you join us. It's going to be something to behold. So again, we are here tomorrow, 1 p.m. Join us. Why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lions.
This is Warrior King, and the time has come for the lions and the lioness to tell their own story. Voice, give thanks and praise for the wonderful blessing that's been poured on me. Give thanks and praise. Jah use I as an instrument to set the people free. Jah give her the powers to chant. Jah give her the powers to chant. Rastafari, the lion's voice.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the Lion's Voice.
Yes, job people, this is Michael Shemai representing. I will say, hear the lion voice, saying it is time for the lions and the lionesses to tell their own story. King David killed Goliath with a stone, we original dread.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
It's AWTITUDE representing for Lion's Voice. Yes, massive. This is the time for I and I, the lion them to tell I and I story, our story. Yes, and we reign and rule like this. Reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, I reign and rule. You can't take the lion vibes, people. If you no fool, cause we know Selassie reign and rule. Reign and rule. Selassie, I reign and rule. Queen Omega drop them in the fire, pull from them, no Queen Omega, she reign and rule. Royal Kushite, ancient essence, Emperor Selassie in a majestical presence, flash of all sevens, projecting through I and I events. We sing a song for the king, we bring joy and blessing and overstanding, yeah. We hear Jah every day. Reign and rule. Yeah. Selassie, reign and rule. Yes, I. Lion vibes. Selassie, reign and rule. Attitude say that. Boondocks. Black Organization of Global Diplomats optimizing expressions to the world. Tiluo, tilie.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lamb's voice. Now put it. I Jollifer said that.
Greetings, this is Ras Splicer. The time has come for the lions to tell their own story. See? This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir? Ras Splicer said that. Are you satisfied? Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm all alone, still you thought I was telling a lie. This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir?
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to the lion voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.